Hi everyone, it's week 5 of Management 650. This is Helen. I'm going to show you how to solve a problem that will help you solve homework problem 6. Homework problem 6 provides us with a contingency table that shows registered voters' concerns about global warming, which are broken down by political party affiliation. In homework problem 6, we're going to learn how to identify and calculate conditional probability. First, we're going to learn 2 steps that will help us identify the type of probability that we need to calculate. Our first step is to set up and analyze our data table. Now we've already have our contingency table set up. So let's start by taking a look at our column labels. Our column labels deal with opinions on global warming. First, we see in our first column that global warming is a non-issue. Then our second label indicates that global warming is a serious concern. Along our left border, we have political party affiliation. These are our row labels. We have Democratic, Republican, and Independent, and as you can see, they are the labels for our rows. Now let's take a look at our numerical data. I typically color code my contingency tables, and as you can see, our marginal values, which are shaded in purple, are interspersed along the part of the borders of the table. So let's click on one of these values. Marginal values indicate single traits or single events. So I'm going to click on 500, and what this indicates is we see that our row label is Democratic. So what this means is that 500 people who were polled indicated that they were affiliated with the Democratic Party. Now let's click on number 425 along the border, and we will see that 425 people who responded to the poll indicated that global warming was a non-issue for them. So those are marginal values, single traits. Now let's jump into the center of the table, and these are our joint values. These are 2 traits or 2 events, and these are shaded pink. You will see, let's look at the number 70. 70 indicates that 70 people responded that they were affiliated with the Democratic Party and that global warming was a non-issue for them. Now let's look at number 105, and this means that 105 respondents indicated that global warming was a serious concern and they were affiliated with the Independent Party. So joint values are, there are 2 values or 2 events. The second step is to examine the language of the problem. In conditional probability, we look for words such as given that, among those, if, who is. These words will push us towards a marginal event. They focus on a marginal event, which is a single trait or a single event. And as we know in my tables, they're shaded in purple. So let's take a look at our first problem. What is the probability that a randomly selected registered voter who is a Republican believes that global warming is a serious issue? The words who is a Republican points us towards a conditional probability. So who is a Republican is, we're going to look at the label for Republican. It's a row, and we're going to go to the marginal value. The marginal value is 500. Now we're going to look for our joint value. The joint value is Republican and serious concern for global warming. So we're going to look at serious concern for global warming in the Republican row, and that value is 240. So to calculate the probability, we divide 500 into 240 and we get 0.480. So we divide our marginal value into our joint value. Now we're going to look at the second part of the problem, which says round to 3 decimal places. Now we know that our problems are not correct unless they are rounded to the correct number of decimal places. So let's review this. We're going to recalculate the problem equal 240 divided by 500, click enter, and we get more than 3 decimal places. So we need to reduce the number of decimal places. So we go up to this area of the toolbar, we click on the right facing arrow, and we go down to 3 decimal places. If we should need to increase our decimal places, we can always go to the left facing arrow and click that, but we need 3. So that's as simple as that. Now to show the importance of language, let's consider that if the problem had asked us to find the probability that a randomly selected voter was a Republican and believed global warming was a serious concern, we would calculate a joint probability. The word "and" would indicate that we would calculate a joint probability. So that's how important language is when determining the type of probability that we calculate. Now let's look at our second problem. What is the probability that a randomly selected voter is a Republican given that he or she believes global warming is a serious issue? The words "given that" are indicating that we would use conditional probability. They are pushing us towards the marginal value for global warming is a serious issue. We go to the column that indicates serious concern or serious issue. We go down to the marginal value, that is 775. Then we search for the value that is serious concern and affiliated with the Republican Party. So here's the Republican row, and here is the of course serious concern for global warming column. We look for the intersection, and that is the value of 240. So we divide 775 into 240 and we get 0.310. Again, they're asking for 3 decimal places. Problem C gives us an equation, P serious concern divided by Democratic. This is conditional probability. It indicates that you divide the marginal value for Democratic into the joint value serious concern and Democratic. So we go up to our Democratic row, we go out to our marginal value of 500, and then we look for serious concern and Democratic. We're still in the Democratic row. The intersection is 430. So that's our joint value. We're going to divide 500 into 430, and we're going to get a conditional probability of 0.860. So just to recap, we need to go through 2 steps to identify our type of probability. We're going to create and we're going to analyze our contingency table. We're going to examine the language of the problem. In the case of conditional probability, we're going to look for words like who is, given that, and among. Those focus us on our marginal value. To calculate conditional probability, we divide our marginal value into our joint value.